Remember when Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Tuesdays were black gold and occasionally super?
Yes.
And remember when Saturdays were once taken over and not housing PLEs?
Right.
And that is our segue into our new sub-series, I guess, which we'll
so.
call the Good Gold Days, taking a look back at the good NXT pre-2.0, pre-whatever you want to call it now. The better days, the days where we liked it and talked about it on the podcast way back when.
Yeah, so NXT Black and Gold, the Good Gold Days.
Yes.
Which was your idea, and I liked it. So lots of new ideas.
I got that
today.
idea because I remember once someone posted on Instagram about Undisputed Era, and I coined that term on that. I just commented that, and then I remembered when we came up with this idea. So yeah.
So tell the listeners what our starting point is and why.
So obviously I think our main goal is just I want to rewatch mainly probably 2017 to 2021, the end of that, but I figured why not encompass all of it?
Why not go back several years from that point?
Three extra years pretty much.
That's fine.
But yeah, so we're gonna start with NXT Arrival, which is I want to say February 2014-ish.
February 27th, 2014. I did some research while you were at work today.
Okay. So yeah, it's basically a month shy of another year. And so we're going to start with that because that's the first. I feel like that's kind of the main starting point for it because it's the start of the network, and that's kind of when
I was going to say
NXT started getting good, right?
The network launched 3 days before NXT
Right,
Arrival.
this is the
first live professional wrestling event streamed online.
PLE.
Correct.
When they ceased to be pay-per-views.
But the weird thing is, when I was going back and looking, so this is technically episode 210 of NXT Arrival is, but it's a day after what the normal day of the week it occurs on.
So this
would be Friday? I mean? So NXT number 209 was February 19th, 2014, and then 210 was Arrival on February 27th.
Weird.
If that makes sense.
Kind of.
When I went back and looked at the official record. So
that's weird.
I have some context to give us. I went back and looked at 2 episodes before Arrival, just to give us some context. Okay. It's just the matches that were taking place, just to give some people an idea of what's going on at the time. So, NXT 208 on February 12, 2014, Natalya, Emma, and Bayley defeat Summer Rae,
gross,
Sasha Banks, and Alicia Fox.
Gross.
Interesting, eh? Struggling to remember the second person in this one. Aiden English defeats Colin Cassidy. Is that Big Cass?
Yeah.
It is, right?
I was like, really?
Yeah,
wait.
I forgot that name. So 2014 Big Cass. Oh, there you go.
Boom.
Put him up there. Nice. That's very convenient that he was sitting there.
I still haven't opened it. I don't know why.
CJ Parker defeated Ty Dillinger. And the Wyatt family, Harper and Rowan, defeated Jason Jordan and Marcus Louis. I think I remember. You can Google him. I think he was.
I don't even know how you spell that.
Like Louis, Louis.
Okay.
I think he started as a manager and ended up in-ring performer. He had long hair. I think he was pretty jacked, if I remember correctly.
He's bald.
Oh, he's bald? Then it's not who I'm thinking of.
The match that comes up is Solomon Crow versus him.
I'm thinking of someone else.
You know Solomon Crow?
Yeah.
Remember Solomon
Sami
Crow?
Callahan.
Yeah. Forgot about Solomon Crow.
Oh, okay. So it's not who I thought it was then. Clearly. And then on episode 209, which was February 19th, you had the Ascension.
Yeah.
Connor and Victor, which is the second iteration. Right? Victor was a replacement for
Kenneth Cameron, a.k.a. Bram, a.k.a. Latimer.
Correct. They defeated, I don't remember either of these two. I assume they're jobbers. Casey Marion and Mike Labaska. And that's where you suddenly go, no, Mike Labaska is someone really famous.
Sounds jobberific to me.
I think so. And Emma defeated Summer Rae, and Adrian Neville defeated Tyler Breeze, which I think I'll get into context when we get to each match, and I think that's how he got this match with another match with what's his face today?
I don't think so,
Bo Dallas.
According to my research. But
maybe. You did research too?
I did research on the matches specifically.
I did a little as well. So some more background information. This takes place at Full Sail, and again 3 days after the launch of the network, and this is the first.
I think everything in NXT is going to be Full Sail until we get to TakeOver Brooklyn. That's the first.
Yeah.
TakeOver or anything outside of Full Sail.
Right. So 2012, WWE had restructured, right? And the NXT brand went from being a reality-based competition that I watched to a developmental territory for the main roster.
I mean, that show was successful. It made Daniel Bryan, so.
I've been watching. I don't know if you've seen, Maven's been posting little videos lately, and it was like how much money he made in WWE, and so I think it was like $800,000 he made in 4 years or something, and like his attitude,
I did see something about
his
Maven.
attitude's kind of cool because I generally don't like watching actual wrestlers because they're so bitter generally.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like, yes, I picked up a drug addiction that probably I never would have if I hadn't done to WWE, but at the end of the day, that's my personal choices still, right? And that like wrestling offered me more than it sort of hurt me, whatever. But anyways,
maybe
so
he's trying to keep the door open.
the pre-show panel for this, do you know who would have been on it? Because I looked this up too.
I don't know if I want to know.
Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Paul Heyman, and Renee Young.
Why? What does Kevin Nash have to do with anything
That's
wrestling?
an interesting combination. Hart and Kevin Nash together, right?
What does Kevin Nash know about wrestling? Why would he be there?
So much. That I don't know why he'd be there. There was a dark match. Oh, that's who I'm thinking of. So, never mind. When I said Marcus, what was it? Marcus Louis, I was thinking of Sylvester Lafort. So
Yeah.
in the dark match, he
There was
defeated...
like some French tag team, right? Were they teaming or were they just not?
No, Mason Ryan defeated him. What was that, Batista 2.0?
Yeah.
Remember, he was such a Vince guy. He was just...
They did nothing.
He did not do anything.
New Nexus boy.
So, the Wrestling Observer reported that 200 ticket holders who had purchased tickets were not allowed in because Full Sail had oversold. Imagine how mad you would be.
Oof.
So it's only Full Sail's
Well,
only...
It depends on the show, I guess.
Full Sail's only 400 seats. So it sounds like they sold 600 tickets for a 400-seat theater. So 200 people would have been super pissed, I would think.
I wonder how that worked out.
And in the infancy of the network as well, many viewers reported having technical or experiencing technical issues with specifically the feed cutting out.
Yes, I remember there being talk about
for
that.
Woods Tyler Breeze match, right?
Damn, they missed that.
And some reviewers described it as, read some reviews even said marred by technical issues. So WWE even released a statement and left the event on demand for free so that people could watch it in its entirety or watch what they missed due to technical issues or whatever.
Interesting.
And last point I have, I don't know what you wanted to say, but NXT really, and it shows on this, right, had only built 3 matches on this card ahead of the...
It's like...
it's pretty obvious.
It's like December to Dismember.
Right.
Except not horrible.
Right. Yeah, so they built, and of those, when we get to those 3 matches, I'll give context ahead of it. You might have some as well.
I've got it, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. And then if I picked up anything different, I will add to it. Do you have anything else before we get into the actual event itself, leading into it or anything like that?
I just had the basic stuff, like all the first champions, which was...
Okay, go ahead.
Rollins was the first NXT champion from August 29, 2012, beat Jinder Mahal, because obviously...
Right. As you do.
In the finals of the tournament. And then Paige became women's champion July 24th, 2013 by beating Emma, which will come back. And then British Ambition became the first tag champs on February 13th, 2013. Do you remember who that is?
British Ambition. I do not.
It's Neville and Oliver Gray.
I do remember him. I thought he was going to be okay too, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, I don't even remember what he looks like.
He was a fit dude with short hair, if I remember correctly. And I thought he was all right.
Oliver Gray, NXT. I'm just looking at it. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he's all right.
Is that my description apt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like
I thought
Alex
he was okay.
Riley. Kind
yeah, that's not bad.
like
hey, Rye?
A little bit.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. And then our champs going into this are Bo Dallas for men's, Paige for women's, and Ascension for tag titles. And Ascension have the big, long title run going.
Yeah, they're super dominant at this point.
Yeah, first network show.
Right.
And it's weird because the network logo, like the current logo we'd have now, is on like the screens and whatever. But then all on the belts and like whatever, they still got the scratch logo. This is still in that transition period. I want to say like, I think the first pay per view they might have had the network logo on like main roster. I think I remember seeing it like SummerSlam might have been.
Yeah.
Because they were still in a state of change. I think this was the year where they kind of like 2002 was the year where they changed WWF to WWE. This is kind of the logo change.
Get the F out.
Yeah.
That was actually clever.
I watched a whole video on that. I like that.
It was a clever way to go. Credit where credit is due, right?
It was cool, yeah.
And are you ready to get into the event itself?
Yeah.
All right, so Did you want to describe the stage? Just standard Full Sail? Was
It's
there anything?
just Full Sail.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a little screen Full Sail.
Which I always kind of liked, right?
I do miss Full Sail. I don't know if I liked the Capitol Wrestling Center better. I did kind of like the look of it.
Yeah.
I just like
the crowds at Full Sail were fun. It was like students and stuff.
I just kind of missed that. Once they went to Capitol, they never went out. Like,
right.
I always didn't like that. The first NXT PLE since pre-pandemic was 2.0. Like I never liked that 2.0, and current NXT have gotten out of the Capitol Wrestling Center, but the 2020-2021 NXT was always there. Which, I mean, the takeovers were still good. It's just, it's nice to have the arena atmosphere. Obviously, they couldn't for a while, but once they could.
It's part of the draw of doing this part of NXT, right? Or this whatever era is that we're the pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever we're going to get are going to be sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no duds in Takeover World, in my opinion.
This isn't a takeover, so it is exempt from that rule.
It is, and I'm glad because...
Yes. It's very much a building block.
Yes. That's a good way to put it, because it doesn't count.
I'm not going to fault it too much for that,
it
but
is
it is what it is.
It is not a takeover, technically.
It is what it is, yeah. It's okay. And they had the old NXT theme for the intro, which I really liked. That was cool. Not the one that I remember. I remember the one in, like, I think it was like 2018 or 2019, where, like, I can't remember exactly how the song was, and I wouldn't dare try to, like, get that across here, because that would just sound horrible.
I think you should.
It was like the one where the wrestlers keep yelling at the camera, and, like, it's like really, like, intense. And
oh yeah,
you kind of know what I'm talking about, right? It was like I remember Undisputed Era. It was like that kind of era. And, like, EO was there. It was probably when they were champions, but it was that kind of theme. I remember that theme, and maybe the one before that. I do remember the one they used here too, but it's not the one I'm most familiar with, probably. But I just remember those themes. But it was cool to see the theme here, just because I couldn't tell you what the NXT theme is.
I think it was like the one from the reality show. Even it felt the same. I feel like it was the same one.
I don't know if they used this one. I just know that they used it for this.
Yep. So we get lighting effects, right? Triple H's voice comes out first, asking if we're ready.
I said no.
Then I was undecided. I mean,
Viewer discretion is advised. You might be disturbed.
Correct.
You can decide.
Then there's a spotlight on him. He gets in the ring. He says this is NXT first, then gets in the ring.
Just so you know.
And talks about NXT is the next generation, and the next generation is here. So wouldn't that make it this generation? Anyways, the original theme really did take me back. And the show begins, right? And what I really like about NXT in general and the takeovers is they don't waste any time, right? It was 3 minutes from lights coming on to people are in the ring ready to have a match.
Yeah, because they can't afford pyro either.
No, and Tom Phillips looks so young, eh? He looks like a baby. Weird. So who's on commentary here?
It was him, Regal, and Byron Saxton, because, of course.
Yeah, Byron Saxton. It's nice to hear Regal, and on Tom Phillips is good.
Regal's always really good. He's kind of like, he's got a nice realism to him.
Yeah, and Phillips is now Tom Hannafan, right, in Impact Wrestling, and he's really good.
He was pretty solid.
He's talented, man.
I can't wait till we get to the Morrow days. He's my boy.
He's honestly, I said it on here before, he's improved Impact because he's not Josh Matthews. Not only is he not Josh Matthews, but he's actually good, I think, too.
I'm excited to get to the Morrow days, and also Nigel McGuinness. He was really good. I'm disappointed they let him go.
Yeah.
He was really good. But then who's Percy Watson, he sucks.
He was bad.
He sucks. And then we got to deal with Beth Phoenix again. Man, I was happy when she left.
Are we going to get to her when in review? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Why would you do this to us?
Vic Joseph and Beth Phoenix and Barrett.
And to be honest, when does that was main roster.
What?
When Renee did some...
No, that was main roster, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
she wasn't good at either.
I thought she was okay.
She's great in her role currently.
Yeah,
and
I thought she was okay.
I thought that was her worst.
I liked her better than Beth, though. I hate Beth. I remember all the commentaries I hate. I hated Beth, Percy Watson from NXT, and I guess Booker.
I was just going to say they're all better than Booker. I would take Beth over Booker.
Booker, I also hated on main roster because he was like 2017 Rock, and then I remember Coach replaced him on Raw for a while. He was bad too. There's always that's the issue with the 3-person teams, and you always say like it's too many too, and I kind of agree because there's Other than AEW, I think AEW seems good, but I feel like in WWE, there's always one person I hate or I don't like.
3's too many. Joey Styles did it by himself forever.
Morrow and Nigel would be perfect because Morrow is all amped and then Nigel's kind of like an Excalibur type. Yeah, Morrow is awesome.
Morrow was good.
Anyways, we'll get there.
So the opening match of this, I think they made a really good choice to go with a couple veterans who are you're pretty much guaranteed to get a good match, right? And that's Sami Zayn taking on Cesaro. So did you want to talk about some backstory there? What's been going on with them? I got a bunch of stuff as well.
A couple things I wanted to know is it was weird Zayn doesn't have his infamous Worlds Apart theme yet.
Right.
It's weird and I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable that he doesn't come out to that.
And normally when I watch WWE stuff, it's because I'm watching old stuff for WCW and they've just changed every theme. So I remember you were watching something WCW
and Jericho
with me
came
recently.
out and
you're like, that's a terrible theme. I'm like, that's not his theme. That's not any of their themes.
Yeah, I don't like this theme. It's just, I don't know. It's very at the time. It's just a generic thing, but I just don't like that he doesn't come out to his. It's just weird. And then even weirder is Cesaro coming out to the Real American theme.
You laughed at that, remembering that whole gimmick, right?
And doing the We the People thing. It doesn't make sense. It's just I knew it was weird at the time, but just like thinking back on it again now, it's really weird. Why was he ever in that?
Right.
It doesn't make sense at all.
No, so it's heel Cesaro and very, very babyface Sami Zayn.
Yeah, it's prime babyface Sami Zayn. It is. I'm glad he's back on the shtick now, but it's definitely prime.
We were talking about it
Zayn.
watching this. It's really hard to find really, really good baby faces, and he is one of the greats, in my opinion.
So the feud stems from Zayn upsetting Cesaro in Zayn's debut, I think.
Correct.
It was. Then Cesaro won the next two matches, including the famous 2 or 3 Falls rubber match that everyone loves. Zayn was obsessed with the loss because of how much praise that match got. And
but
he kept
didn't
challenging
win it, right?
Yeah.
So that would bugged him.
And he hasn't gotten the respect of Cesaro. That was kind of the deal. He kept challenging Cesaro again, but he declined until Triple H just made the match anyways.
Yeah.
Which I kind of found funny.
So a couple of the storylines in this, it's kind of evidence of long-term story building, even if they've like strayed from it and gone back. Like that's from May 2013, right? To this is February of 2014. So that's a good stretch of quite a lengthy story they were talking about, I think. So did I have anything else here? So Zayn had challenged Cesaro to a rematch. Cesaro declined. And then on the February 12th episode of NXT, Cesaro denied the challenge again, but Triple H stepped in to make the rematch official. So a kind of a long history between them, right? The story coming in is Zayn is desperate to avenge his loss in the 2 out of 3 falls and sort of earn the respect of Cesaro and whoever else, I guess.
Probably Zeb Coulter.
To start this match. So it was interesting because I did the detailed notes during matches for this, which I haven't done in a while because since we stopped in-depth reviewing NXT, right? I just sort of summarized. So
it'll be weird once in, and it'll probably take a while.
Had to flex a muscle. But I haven't.
If we keep with it, obviously, but it'll take a while. But once we get to the NXT, we'll be re-reviewing.
Oh, some of the ones we already did. Oh, that's right. They'll be overlapped.
In 2021, yeah. Which that's okay.
If we get to that point, yeah, we'll see.
The plan is to hopefully get it all, but we'll see.
We'll see. So here we have. I noted Cesaro looks humongous.
Yeah, he's
this is
jacked.
like as big as I think he's been. So he overpowers Sami right out of the lockup, and then mockingly slaps Sami on the back of the head after taking him to the ground. Sami starts to get going, but Cesaro stops him with a drop kick. We get a series of counters after Cesaro catches a Hurricane Rana attempt, and Cesaro ends up on the floor. Sami dives onto him. Already a little bit early for my taste, the crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." I'm not saying it doesn't get to that level, but maybe not. Like 2 minutes
Yeah,
in.
Sometimes they just do it too early.
These crowds too are like it's the young group. They got lots of energy. I don't mind it.
Or maybe they're plants. You never know.
Could be. It wouldn't take many plants in 400, right? You plant 40 and they can influence everything. Back in the ring, Cesaro, just a powerhouse, catches a crossbody attempt, turns it into a really nice backbreaker. And then Cesaro's sort of beating on Sami out on the floor, then rolling him back in to break the count, and then throwing him back out and doing it again. He does that 3 times, running into guardrails and other things out on the floor. Then there's some kicks by Sami. Cesaro's trying to, I think, wrap his leg around the ring post from the floor, and Sami sort of kicks his way out of it to shift the momentum for a little bit until Sami goes for that diving DDT that looks so good.
Through the corner?
Right, he runs along the floor, dives through the corner, and hits a DDT. But
I don't know how he doesn't ever hit his...
And he gets through, but Cesaro drills him on the other side with an uppercut here. It looked pretty good. Cesaro then does go back to the leg and successfully wraps it around the ring post and continues to target Sami's left knee. Like, this becomes the match, right? Is it that Cesaro is just destroying his knee and Sami is trying to fight through it. So slow, methodical attack by Cesaro. the crowd is starting to get behind Sami, which is exactly what they're supposed to do, and Sami's so good at eliciting that response. Sudden heel kick by Sami slows Cesaro for a second, and you keep thinking, okay, this is it. We've got a bit of hope for Sami, but then Cesaro comes right back here.
Keep shutting it down.
And it attacks Sami's knee again. We get 2 dragon screws, but Sami's trying to fight out of the third one. Cesaro ducks an enziguri and immediately applies a single leg crab. Zayn crawls to the rope to get a rope break. We get a back elbow and a boot by Sami. He backdrops Cesaro to the floor. This is where he gets a little bit of a flurry here. Goes for a moonsault off the second rope to the floor. But
it
again,
was like the not split-legged, but
yeah,
like
but he like
kind
sits
of.
on the top
like
and flips from
I think
there.
it's like Arabian press or
yeah,
something.
it's kind of like
Sabu.
Correct. So he gets caught again by Cesaro. He's just too strong.
Yeah, I wrote his feats of strength. They're pretty nuts.
Crazy. And he slams Sami hard on the ramp. Sami barely beats the 10 count from this one. Then there's just a sudden exploder, right, by Sami, throwing Cesaro into the turnbuckles.
Yeah, I want to call it an explodey now.
Explodey. And then not long after, a blue thunderbomb for a near fall. Flatliner to Koji clutch, which I love, and it's funny.
I really like that.
Because I just saw Purrazzo do it against Kylan King, and I loved it then too. So it's interesting. It's the exact same combination. Counter by Cesaro into a stretch muffler.
I thought that was really cool.
It was really good.
Transition out into that. I thought that was really cool. I like that.
Sami gets to the ropes again. Sami counters the swing on the first attempt and somehow gets like a 2 count roll up. But Cesaro quickly recovers and does swing Sami, 8 or 9 times before releasing him and hitting a running uppercut in the corner for a near fall. Then there's just a double stomp to the face, right, by Cesaro and a pinfall attempt. Another top rope Hurricane Rana attempt is caught by Cesaro. And it looks like he's going to go for an avalanche Ricola bomb, but Sami counters that with a successful Hurricane Rana and then a Haluva kick for a pretty nice near fall. Cesaro's growing frustrated at this point, and he just flattens Sami with more uppercuts while telling Sami to stay down. German suplex by Sami, another glimmer of hope, but Cesaro crushes him with a boot. Ricola bomb countered into a roll-up for 2. Code red for Sami for 2. The crowd is now just appreciative of the action here as Sami's just trying to do whatever he can to catch a pinfall here. Sudden pop-up uppercut. Sami kicks out. The crowd loves it, but now he's on his feet and staggered. Crazy running uppercut and a neutralizer, and it is over after 23 incredible minutes. Cesaro picks up the win in this opener. Spoiler alert, this is by far the match of the night.
Yeah.
After the match, Cesaro goes to leave. Remember, he is a heel here at this point, but he returns to the ring to hug Sami and give Sami the respect that he has been seeking. So I really like that touch as well. Cesaro leaves the ring and lets Sami sort of have his moment, right? And just drinking in the crowd who are giving him a standing ovation after this match, right? Mm-hmm. So just your thoughts on the match.
I thought it was pretty great for early NXT. I think, of course, the matches in NXT get a lot better and developed and more polished once we go on. But I think it would hold up decently, and it would be even better if this was hosted in latter NXT. That being said, I think it was still really good. 22 minutes was a solid length. An excellent opener choice. One of the hallmarks of early NXT was here in underdog Sami Zayn. Of course, that's a staple of the early days. And they used it to perfection here. Cesaro with the superhuman strength and smashing uppercuts contrasted really well to Sami's resiliency and just him continuing to keep going. Leg targeting was a nice story throughout, and then Sami's mini comebacks were well done, and it got the crowd going a lot. It's weird because in all of his time on main roster, Cesaro never got to look this good, and it's really not hard.
You're right.
It's not hard to do that.
No.
And you just have to do things like this. And it's a prime example of why Sami was and now is, again, such a great babyface. One of the rare examples, along with Gargano and D-Bry, although Bryan, you could debate is good as either. Mm-hmm. But one of those people who's actually probably better as a babyface.
And there's few that we feel that way.
Right, and or just even being really good as a babyface.
Yep.
Cesaro winning is kind of a shame, but at the same time, it works. 'Cause it gives me the same vibe as Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream at TakeOver War Games.
He shall not be named.
Well, he'll be named eventually.
True.
True.
Then, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, and the Patrick Clark days too. And then I like how the respect is earned in defeat, and it gives him kind of that elevation while still.
That's what I said too. Even in a loss, he gets something.
It reminded
tangible.
me of that later version.
Yeah. These guys have great chemistry. Fantastic start to the show. Terrific performances from both. And the crowd is involved in this show right off the bat, which is what you want in an opener. And yeah, like you said, this is what Sami Zayn does best. He is good at being the resilient babyface and selling offense from other people. And then Cesaro's just so believable as like a powerhouse technician, right? So he, as soon as there's a weak spot, he is capable of attacking it with a variety of cool looking stuff.
And it works as a babyface, but also you can see here it definitely works as a heel, and hopefully we can get kind of that with Claudio now.
Yeah, there's just a great dynamic in this match and great storytelling by Sami with the selling of the knee and his few believable comeback spots and near falls. They even, like you said, they found a way for Sami to gain something in a loss and combine that with what happens, after the match. And I do remember really, really enjoying this match when I watched the show, and I feel the same way viewing this. I gave it a star rating. So out of 5, I gave it 4.5 stars. I don't know about you.
I would.
And then I
would agree with that, or I go 4.25.
Okay, fair. So then I went to cage match, where people can contribute, right? And I think they average it out. So 300 votes, it got 9.25 out of 10. So I'm pretty close to that. They liked it a bit more than us. If you double ours, right, that's the same scale. So I basically gave it a 9 out of 10. Really, really good match. One worth going to see if you haven't seen it already. Then we get a bit of a laugh because a Mojo Rawley video package plays that I'm not really summarizing the video packages too much.
I didn't write anything about them.
They're all pretty standard stuff, right?
If there's
anything interesting, I would have
It's like the ones they put on the PLEs now, except they make more sense here because then the people actually wrestle.
Yes.
Except, because the ones on the main roster now,
they
just
no longer
chuck them in there for no reason.
People that you won't see that night.
Or they've already wrestled.
Right. So he's got the whole he doesn't get hyped, he stays hyped thing.
Which I thought he started with the Hype Bros, but this is long before that.
Oh, way before that. I actually, if we had been doing the podcast at that point, I probably would have predicted that WWE would use him because of his energy and I think he's like a football guy and he has a decent look. And he did make main roster, so he made it further than a lot of them.
Yeah, but then he started painting his face weird and shouting at a mirror, so...
That was an awful, awful gimmick.
Then he partnered with Riddick Moss, of all people, got betrayed by Riddick Moss. And let's not forget, it was over the 24/7 title.
So he hung around for a while, at least. He cashed some checks. That's more than a lot of people will. But
he didn't stay hyped the whole time, though.
No. So then we get his match, and he is taking on CJ Parker, who we are now fans of as Juice Robinson.
He's so much better now. Even early Juice Robinson, I think he looks so much cooler now with the way his hair and the beard. Just rock hard is way better than whatever he was doing with Finley or whatever he's doing here. But my first note was, so Juice Robinson's always been weird.
So I always thought this character had potential. He's
because
environmentalist who's super obnoxious and
this wasn't great, but it could have had legs like the Dana Bryan thing did. It's proven that kind of thing can work, but
so they
didn't have backing behind it.
The planet's going to hell and it's the WWE universe's fault sort of thing is what he's
the
working.
Moon Child.
Right? So yeah, he's the Moon Child, and
Juice Robinson's way better, but I think this could have had potential in another universe.
So. And unfortunately, this follows that opener, right? So these two really don't have a chance because one of them doesn't know how to wrestle at all.
My favorite thing was Byron said that JBL said, if you want to be a star, you go through NXT. And then he said something like, you tell me Mojo Rawley's not going to be a star.
I will tell you that.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Right. So CJ Parker is here to spread peace in a hurting world.
I like that. That's a good heel kind of thing.
You could see here that he is a strong performer.
His entrance dance is so weird. Yeah. There's definitely signs of that. The performer that Juice Robinson is, there's definitely little bits of that.
You see glimpses for sure. Because this is almost 10 years ago, right? So lots of growth since then.
That's true.
You laugh as Mojo's theme hits and he makes his entrance. I made a note of. And commentary
just the intro with his theme's different from the Hype Bros, but the intro's the same with the we don't get hype, we stay hyped. That kind of thing.
And commentary's fawning all over Mojo before the bell rings.
Juice Robinson's real last name is Robinson.
Telling you how this match is going to go. So it's a slow start here with Mojo getting a hold of Parker's arm eventually and doing the most basic of submission holds because at this point, Mojo does not know what he's doing at all, I would suggest. We get a boot to a charging Mojo and a follow-up clothesline by Parker. Punches and stomps to Mojo in the corner. Honestly, I feel like this is all Mojo can take, is basically the most basic corner offense. Throw me into a corner and then just chop and kick me and punch me.
Right,
and that's basically all he can do. So it's just basic corner offense. This is my note. More basic corner offense from Parker as Jack updates me on Psycho Mike winning the Smash title. We love Psycho Mike.
And, Bennett's had the title since pre-pandemic, and also since we went to that Smash.
He's fun, man, because
he is cool, but
he doesn't look like your typical indie worker because he is big and jacked.
Mike or Bennett?
Mike.
Okay,
but his whole gimmick is like body slamming people. Like he gets he has the ability to get the crowd to go bananas when he body slams people.
Or what was
because
it was something else.
It was
body slamming something else.
When we first saw him, remember he was all about trying to get noticed by WWE. So
he's looking at the hard
he'd
cam.
Comment about, hey, I'm looking at the hard cam.
What would you describe his gimmick as? Like
comedy indie.
Yeah, but like what would you say it is? I don't know how to describe it. Like he's just like kind of, I don't know, quirky, I guess
old school. I'm not like, it's one of those guys, I don't think he has to work very simple, but he chooses to because it's part of his character. And now he's known for it.
I'm happy for him though, because they got a new champion and he's cool.
Smash is the biggest promotion in the province.
Also, TDT won the tag titles, the Tabernacle.
Oh, the French tag team.
Yeah,
one of them looks like the third Briscoe. Remember, he looked just like a Briscoe.
Oh yeah, no, never mind. But I was gonna say Bear County, but they don't really look. And just I don't know, something better reminds me of Bear County.
Lumberjacky.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sorry, back to the match. I'm avoiding Mojo taking over here with. He basically hits 2 stinger splashes. This is his offensive explosion. 2 stinger splashes, a rear view.
No. Those 2 are one move. It's the hyperdrive, I believe. Okay.
Oh, the hyperdrive is Earthquake's finisher, right? Is that?
It's those in tandem is the hyperdrive.
Oh, my mistake.
I know this only because of 2K, where I remember on the main
none of them are
roster,
good, so I don't know why you would try them in 2K. Because they're so devastating.
I'll see. Honestly, I kind of want to see if I can find it if it's still in the move archive.
Yeah,
because that would be really funny. But I remember he had the one finisher on the main roster. I think it might have been when he was heel, but it was like a fireman's carry, and you would just like drop your face first, but kind of push. It looked kind of iffy. It was better than this though, because it's essentially a rear view. So he'll hit you with the rear view like Naomi's move, and then he'll run off the ropes again and do like a running earthquake splash.
Oh yeah,
like
devastating.
I don't know how this managed to be a finisher.
Because
in 2014, let alone 2004. But like he could have done the fireman's carry.
So it was basically I think they just wanted to make him run because he's like the super hype guy.
I think
and
you
can't
could
do anything.
Or do a spear then. Honestly,
yes,
like take a spear. I don't know.
So this is mercifully 4 minutes, right?
Felt like an 80s or 90s finisher. Like
it was bad.
Pretty basic considering it's an earthquake splash, maybe literally.
And what a contrast to the opener, right? Like just Raleigh's so limited. He couldn't take anything more than basic offense. He couldn't do anything more than basic. Like, I couldn't even comment on Juice Robinson because I don't think he could do anything. Nor was he booked to in 4 minutes.
It feels like a squash match you'd see on NXT TV. So I don't. It's kind of weird that it was
made
here.
This. Yes. Really short. Thankfully,
finisher was brutal in a bad way.
I gave it 1 star, and on Cage Match it wasn't eligible for a rating because it's under 5 minutes. So sorry, what were your thoughts? I just kind of kept going. You loved it? Match of the
I'll go
decade? I gave it 1 star.
I'll go 1 star.
They tried.
I'll
rate it. I'm not afraid.
Poor Moonchild. I forget. They were saying other nicknames too. I think Moonchild's the main one, but there was like other ones too, and they were funny.
They rhymed off 3 or 4 that I didn't catch.
They were funny, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, so not a great follow-up to a great opener, but maybe things will pick up. We then get a package on Emma. She is the first Australian diva. Most recently...
Oh, the word diva is here so much, and it's just so weird.
Most recently Impact and then back in WWE, right? Is she there currently?
Yep.
Right, but not doing anything?
No.
Wow.
I think I
don't think she's bad.
She's not horrible. I liked her heel entrance when she did like the weird thingy where she crossed her arms.
Remember, I liked some of the stuff she was doing in Impact too.
She's solid. Then she came back and had that match with Rousey because she was an open challenge. And if she had gone back to her heel gimmick pre Emelina and post Emelina,
making her debut,
I feel like she could still be doing something.
Yeah.
Right? Like she could have faced
I think so.
A babyface champion. Obviously, like we don't have that now, but like I'm just saying if maybe she got drafted to Raw, she could have faced Belair or something like that. Anyways, what else was I saying? Oh yeah. So she hasn't really, because she's just like she's kind of babyface. She hasn't really done anything.
Yeah.
I think her heel stick with Dana Brooke. I'm not saying don't bring Dana Brooke back.
Why are you bringing
Don't
Dana Brooke
bring Dana
into
Brooke back.
this?
I am
Listen,
not.
That's on a separate podcast.
We'll get to her eventually.
We
I'm
will.
not. Okay, I'm not. We'll get to the beginning of Dana
What
Brooke.
happens if we go so fast on these we catch up to?
Well, no, because we're stopping once 2.0 starts. So don't worry, you're not gonna. Anyways,
Could
her
we
heel.
catch up? No, we keep doing one a week.
Her
Probably would never
heel
catch up.
gimmick that she had with Dana Brooke or without Dana Brooke, that was good. If she kept with that, I feel like she could be doing something right now. But she's been a babyface. The last thing I remember doing was her and Moss losing to then Madcap, now Riddick again.
Right.
They lost to Cross and Scarlett, and I think I saw since returning Cross is an 80% loss rate or something.
Don't doubt that for a second.
That makes me laugh so hard.
So Emma,
it's awesome.
Emma is it's all about bubbles, right? She's bubbly and infectious and a clumsy.
Commentary said something about how bubbly she was, and then cue literal bubbles. It's like
on the nose.
And she's doing like this.
Yeah, she does her.
She's an awkward dancer
and clumsy getting into the ring, like climbing through the ropes and stuff. Is kind of what she's doing.
I remember she did this.
I thought she made it work. It was weird, but again, like.
She did this with Santino against, or no, it was with Kali. It was with Kali or Santino.
And something about NXT, the crowds are more open to quirky stuff like this that won't probably work, and that'll come up with more people on this.
Which maybe that's an issue.
I would say
NXT?
Bo Dallas is in that crowd. Tyler Breeze is in that group.
I think those had more potential because I feel like a model thing is not completely out there. I feel like they had to. Rick Martel.
I know.
Rick freaking Martel.
He was doing that like modern era, and
that should have worked.
And like all of the selfie stick thing was really good at the time.
He could have been a perennial mid carder, and that would have been way better than what he's turned out to be. And then
again, he cashed a bunch of checks, so good for him.
Who's the other one you just said?
Bo Dallas.
Bo Dallas could have worked.
Idea.
I think that one is a little weirder, but I think Bo Dallas had
the
potential.
Bo Leave stuff was I love.
If I didn't leave Bo Dallas, I would do that right now, but I don't, so I won't.
Fair enough. We then get a package about the Ascension that's just basically clips of them absolutely destroying everybody, as they did in NXT for quite a long time. And
you can make them look cool. What?
You can. Kind of strange for me to see Khan here after watching him in Impact, and he's really...
Back where they were cool or pushed.
He's really, really not good.
He was... It's weird. I don't remember him being like... I feel like he's definitely regressed, even though he was never like a ring general. He's definitely regressed, because I thought he looked fine here. He looked fine here, like, and he was like a perfectly decent big man.
If you limit him, right, and just give him go do a couple power spots and tag out, because Victor's, I think, a pretty decent worker.
Victor's all right,
yeah.
Rick Victor back
so
in the day.
They were super dominant in NXT, then they went to main roster and did nothing.
I thought it was weird. So
they
in
were
this
undefeated
match,
forever.
Mm-hmm, I thought it was weird in this match. They were like, commentary were comparing them to Road Warriors.
Yeah.
And
saying, that was common.
But like they were saying stuff like that, and they were saying all this. They were, I don't remember. They were saying a bunch of stuff like that in a positive way, putting them over like as like. But then I remember the whole thing in that segment where they got buried by the Legends was the same things, but now it got turned around as a bad thing and then ruined them.
Yes.
See, like I thought the parallel was really weird.
They're a huge example in like how you present them, right? Like it was all their entrance is super cool in NXT.
I like their theme.
Their like just the way they're presented was completely. They became a joke very quickly on.
I just don't like that they didn't have face paint here. I thought Victor's face paint evolved as their career devolved.
So this match was an open challenge, so they did not know who their opponents were going to be, and neither did I. And it's
too cool.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous. Like it's so random.
Scotty Too Hottie now has a shaved head, which is interesting. They comment he had slightly less hair than last time we saw him, sort of thing. And they said they had been back on a Raw, like a
old
retro
school Raw.
Whatever it was, and that's the last time they were.
That was probably the
WWE.
one where Ambrose had the snake on him.
Yeah. So again, while we're watching this, I'm like,
been split up yet.
I'm not looking forward to saying Grandmaster Saxe 1,000 times.
Saxe. You can just shorten it to Saxe. That's fine.
Saxe does get the advantage early, but then he takes the time to dance and gets chopped hard by Victor.
Wait, who got chopped?
Saxe.
Okay.
So Connor then comes in. He dominates Saxe with 3 shoulder tackles, some stomps before tagging in Victor.
Da ring general.
Victor's ground and pound on Jerry Lawler's son before
who's his son?
A suplex and a chin lock.
On whom?
The Grandmaster Saxe. The chin locks, where I was a big fan of the chin locks on this show. This is the first of
NXT
several.
Takeover chin lock.
So more ground and pound, back to another chin lock. Very boring. Jack is surfing the internet, is what my note says.
I think I was. Yeah.
You
Wait,
were.
how'd you know?
I think you were doing something on your computer.
Yeah.
They
I
lost
probably
your interest
was.
for a minute there.
Yeah, I think it was this and probably the next one.
The Grand Master, prefer that, starts to fight back.
Master whom?
And he escapes the tag in Scotty Too Hottie. Scotty takes control, basic offense.
I'd like if you refer to him just as Too Hottie.
Basic stuff leading to a worm attempt, but Victor sort of pulls his trunks and pulls him into the ropes.
I
right?
like that because he made him do like the whole song and dance thing.
And then sat
and
there.
I like that
played
because
possum.
that makes him look really smart
Yep.
instead of looking really dumb. Because I feel like I saw the worm in the highlight package,
Like,
and
he's
it's really
waiting
dumb.
20 seconds for the
Right,
worm.
but this is actually smart because then
Yeah.
it puts him in a vulnerable spot, and
It
it
did.
gets it's a good heel move too
Yep.
because the crowd gets into it. So I actually really like that as a little bit.
Sudden Victor STO to Scotty Too
I
Hottie.
thought that looked really cool too, just for a simple thing.
Quickly followed up by the fall, which is
Fall
their,
of Man.
high-low. It looks good, too.
It's like it's just a low and then the up. I think it's like a running up. I like it. It's like it's a variation of the high low kind of thing. Like I prefer.
But they do it with good intensity.
I prefer
so it looks
Undisputed
good.
Era's Total Elimination, but I really like this too. I like how they're like kind of like
The original Total Elimination, okay?
Undisputed Era does it
Eliminators?
better. Okay, I've seen that. Undisputed Era does it better.
That's
They get a because Fish
get out.
Fish are strong. They get a running start on it, and it just looks way better. But I like how the Ascension they're kind of like tensing in the corner from either side, and I like how they do it. It's a cool little show.
I may ask you to leave the expansive penthouse studio. I've decided that's what we should call it from now on because it's the exact opposite of what it is. The expansive penthouse studio.
Musical recording studio,
Correct.
just to
'Cause it's
put it up further.
Huge.
That we used to record all of our musical hits.
Yes.
With music.
So this one, 6.5 minutes. I said 2 stars. The average on Cage Match was pretty
I'd
bang
say
on.
2 stars is fair. I thought it was like perfectly fine, nothing outstanding, but at the very least, the Ascension were above Jobbers, which is more than I can say for the main roster one. They actually look solid and they picked up a win. 2 things you cannot say about their time on the main roster.
True.
They did team with Stardust though, so lucky buggers. Too Cool were fine. They didn't do a whole lot.
They did.
Mostly strikes and whatnot, but they were okay.
Yeah, they
They were
were.
fine. I don't think they were bad. It's not the worst Legends comeback we've ever seen. Beats Mojo versus Parker, at least.
I wouldn't have loved at the time that your dominant champions are having to sell even a little bit to like a retired comedy team.
Yeah.
And then kind of winning in unspectacular fashion, right? So,
You're calling their finisher unspectacular?
and I guess I get that this was for the nostalgia pop, right? And that's fine. But the match didn't really do anything for
I think
me.
it's solid to get, considering it's the first NXT pay-per-view, I think that kind of helps
It does.
put into context a little.
It just kind of felt like a TV match more than anything, which I guess technically
But then
this
again,
is a TV episode.
It felt like a TV match other than the fact that it's Too Cool. You know what I mean? Because they wouldn't just come on NXT. I mean, now they might.
Yeah.
But, just back then, it feels like a TV match, but it's Too Cool, so you're putting it here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That kind of thing.
We then get Paige video. You had a good summary for that. Go ahead.
This is the only time I put a note for a package. My summary for this is I'm not like most girls.
And that's basically
my
it.
words, not hers. This is long before Nia Jax, but it fit here. That's the gist of it.
She's the anti-diva, which is a good character to come in as, right? So she's in the middle of a run here as NXT's first women's champion, right?
Yes.
And at the end of this, they cut to the crowd, and who do we see?
And we get Ric Flair and some daughter of his.
Somebody
probably Charlotte's younger sister or something.
Remember when I was researching someone
Proto
called it
Charlotte.
Proto Charlotte, which I thought was very funny. I forget.
It is Proto
wasn't
Charlotte.
my idea, but
It's Charlotte before everything that she's done to herself.
it looks like
Which
a completely different.
Which I will not comment further on.
No judgment, but she looks like a completely different person.
And
She has like darker hair.
I just think even just down to her facial structure.
Okay,
I will
so
only comment on that from here on out.
if 10 out of 10 shocking doesn't look like themselves anymore is Sunny.
Oh, Charlotte is. I say Charlotte's in
7 and a
Yeah,
half.
okay. I was gonna go in the middle, but I think that's for So if Sunny's
10.
okay, if Sunny's a 10, what would you say is a 0 then?
That they look exactly the same.
Yes, from women, obviously, because Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson is
But
a 0.
if we
'Cause
can
he
go,
looks the same.
if
At
we can
40
go
and
women,
70.
comparing apples to apples here, if you can think of anything, I'm thinking.
Trying to think of a veteran that looks the same.
Other than her hair, maybe Beth Phoenix,
Yeah, Victoria did for a while.
Mickie
too.
James.
Yes, Mickey James is a good one.
Mickey James. Okay.
She looks very similar.
Yes.
To me, at least. I don't know.
I would agree with that. And then where would you put Natalia? This is a bit of diversion, but I think it's fun. Because Natalia is definitely different. Okay, so
She's
Charlotte's
close
a
to
7. Would you
Charlotte.
say like 6 then?
Yeah, somewhere
Okay,
around there.
would the middle ground? This is the last one we'll do. Middle ground, what would you say? Okay, wait, actually, also Trish Stratus.
She changed? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A little bit. I'd say Trish Stratus is a good middle ground.
Mhm.
So if you're doing like 1 to 10, your scale is Mickey James, Trish Stratus, and Tammy Sitch.
Right.
Tammy Lynn Sitch. Oh, she is. Whew.
Yeah, a lot different.
I'm not downloading that, let me tell you.
No. Then we get Stephanie McMahon needs to come in and get some recognition.
I thought I did this justice.
She's the greatest.
She's the creator, inventor, innovator, and perennial history maker of the women's division.
Yep.
If Liberty Rhodes is the baby to end racism, she's the woman to start wrestling.
Woman to
Boom.
start the women's revolution.
Woman to start the women's revolution.
Yep.
And we're not even there yet, but this is the year. No, that's next year. My mistake.
So
That's 2015.
she basically comes out, brags about herself, and introduces the future of the Divas division, which is
Divas
Paige
division.
and Emma. She said.
I thought it's
when
weird.
did Divas
'cause-
die? Like not Divas, but the division. Sorry.
I'd say technically speaking, 2016, because Mania 32, the first Mania I watched, that was when they ditched the Divas title in favor of the Raw Women's title, then the WWE Women's title, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably pen it as that. I always thought it's interesting because the Divas title stuck around for obviously from this point another couple years. The Divas title was still around, but the NXT Women's title was always the women's title despite the Divas. So I always thought that was interesting.
Weird.
And I don't know if that's like I don't think it's a progressive thing, but maybe Triple H did that on purpose. I don't know. I always like that just because, like, even though the Divas title's around, I always like that it's always the women's title. Because
Me too.
NXT Divas Champion just sounds horrible.
No, it's no good. It
And
was different.
I always hated this belt too. I thought when they revealed the new belts at Takeover Orlando, I thought the new NXT title, or now the old new, like the current one, but the gold version of the current one, I always thought that was like a decent improvement over the old men's title. And then I thought the women's title, which is basically the same but with the silver NXT, it's a vast improvement from the current belt here. Like you saw it, right? Like it's just like
You're a belt nerd.
belts are awesome.
They are.
I'm still gonna get one someday.
We'll see.
No, you can't stop me.
Bucket list.
I keep stopping myself, if anything.
True.
If Mark, this is a fact, okay? If I wasn't going to Fan Expo, you bet your ass I would have pre-ordered that World Heavyweight title.
Look at the camera.
I would have gotten that belt already. I would have done it, okay? I would have had a belt if not for Fan Expo. Anyways, this belt's like, it's just, the shape's kind of weird. The side plates are like those weird arrows. And just like, I think there's a few rules in belts where you shouldn't have a green strap.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have pink on a belt. And you shouldn't have butterflies on a belt.
Jeff Hardy belt.
And you shouldn't have your own face
that was.
stylized in art on a belt.
All right.
You shouldn't let Jeff Hardy have belts.
Ever.
That's
That's a good rule. That would stop it all in its tracks.
That's a good rule.
So it is Emma challenging Paige
Yeah.
for the NXT Women's
It
Championship.
kind of tripped me out because the beginning sound in Emma's theme is the same as her heel theme that she used in the gimmick I was talking about earlier. But then it goes in like some other theme, and she's doing like the dance is so weird, man. I don't like it. I don't think it's like I don't like this gimmick. I
didn't mind it.
I just like I understand, like you said, the Full Sail crowd will accept it, but this is the kind of thing like I just don't. I think it lacks something, you know. And it's just I don't love it. And for the build for this one, Emma won a dance off to become number one contender. Need I say more?
Need you say more?
No.
She
So
did.
Emma, one thing I want to note is Emma with this dancing gimmick is so weird. I barely remember it. I do remember some things about it. I didn't know she did this in NXT because I thought she was, because I know the thing she did on main roster. It was either she won a dance off against Summer Rae and someone. I think it was Summer Rae and Fandango, maybe. It was like her and Santino, or her and Kali, or something like that. Anyways, it was Santino. It was Santino.
Was it?
I think. You can check. It doesn't really matter.
I just have she won a dance off. I didn't have who was in.
Yeah. No, that's different from the one on Raw. But anyways,
So many dance offs.
I remember this gimmick on Raw.
Yeah.
Is my point. I barely remember it though. I mainly remember her reinvented heel gimmick that she had when she came back to NXT, and it was like 2015, 2016.
Black gloves and sunglasses.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. It's kind of like a proto to Neil Dashwood.
Yes, it
Maybe.
was.
And
some
then
similarities for sure.
the only other thing I remember is the failed experiment
no
of
Dash Woogie though.
the only other thing I remember is the failed experiment of Emelina.
Yes. Wasn't that the one where she was debuting? Like she was going to debut.
It was the one where they had
ever?
all the packages of.
Right.
And I'm gonna be honest, just in
Please
hindsight,
do.
I don't. Fine, I'm gonna lie.
Which is the implication is I normally am lying, but right now I'm not.
I'm gonna be honest. I just from when I remember those packages, I don't know what the actual gimmick was because it was like she was just like really like beautiful in those. Not saying she's ugly normally,
Right.
but like she was like they made her look like the extra
Yes.
beautiful or whatever, and she had like the big like the summer dress kind of thing or whatever. Shout out to July Talk, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was
Great
just like,
Canadian band.
you know what I mean?
Check them out.
I don't know what that was going for. Right? It was just like some pretty thing, and then she came out and she was like something. It's like this is the start of Emelina.
Mm-hmm. And then it never started.
And it was the end of it, and then she just went but then she's like she said something, and she's like I'm going back to Emma, and then she just walked back. It was so weird. I don't know if like that was always the plan or like
I doubt it.
It's still stupid either way.
They change things on the fly.
Paige has her theme, like much like the Ascension. She has the theme I associate her with, and I always really liked it. I thought it fit her decently.
Yep.
And I always it's one of those themes I would always recognize if they played it, and I like it better than whatever, like, because I think when Saraya came, or Sarayo, whatever. Anyways, Saraya's I bumped it. My bad.
It's okay.
Saraya's AEW theme. It's some real song, and I don't like it. It's just I don't like it. But anyways, I like this theme. It's nice.
So Emma, along the way to this too, had to defend her number one contender against Natalya. I found out.
Oh, that's
big win there.
And the amount that the word divas gets used is really weird now. It's just like I'm really happy they got away from that.
Me too.
It's just. Not just obviously the treatment of the women is first and foremost, but just it just sounds weird, right? It's just
I didn't like it.
I think knockouts is a far better version of like trying to use a different word.
Yes.
Because knockouts would have a similar meaning. Yes.
Yeah. Knockout means like a really attractive woman.
But it also sounds cool, like
because a knockout
Awesome Kong.
It's a double entendre.
Exactly. Yes. So it's cool. That's why it's good. Because divas just sounds condescending or whatever, right? Just
and that was indicative of a time where they were just grabbing models, right? Fitness models,
bra and panties matches,
right?
Lumberjill nobody
matches or whatever. Like
I remember, like there's a bunch of or like the days where Harvey Whippleman was champion.
But anyways, Paige is the anti-diva, and she is wrestling here. Let's get back on the rails here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm annoyed almost immediately, right? Because she sticks her tongue out. Although I didn't see any more.
The one thing I remember
became sticking her tongue out, and it drove me crazy.
I remember you saying that. Yeah, but I remember the one thing she did too was so it's the thing, and it happened in the match, and I don't know if you'll talk about it, so I'll just talk about it. But it was the thing where Emma's like in the ropes and she's like leaning over the middle rope, right? And then Paige is the repeated kneeless, and I'm like, she's gonna shriek, and then she did it because that was like one of her things. She always did like that weird scream, which again I'm not gonna replicate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And she always stuck her tongue out. So it's like those were the things she did.
So a bit of awkward fighting to start out, and then a kick to the midsection from Paige. I didn't think it looked great.
That felt divas to me. Like it was like a lot of the hair pulling. It was just like
when they in ECW when they used to like roll back and forth on the ground whenever the women like Dawn Marie would fight and stuff.
Exactly. That's just like a thing where like they in like the gravy match they'd be like like something like that. It feels like it's just like. It's like one of those things you do when they brawl in the matches where like you do like the take down the ground pound, you repeat the reverse. It's like if you take one of those sequences and take out the strikes.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just that.
They're just rolling around.
Yeah, and that kind of thing irks me because it's just like it feels divas here. This match, I'm not to spoil my opinion too much. It feels like it was caught in the middle of women's wrestling and divas. You know what I mean?
I thought
there's elements of both.
Yep. We get a slingshot attempt by Emma, but Paige kind of sits down on it for a pinfall attempt. Drop kick by Paige and a body slam. Then we get another chin lock, ladies and gentlemen. And dueling crowd chants. But the chin lock goes on so long that the chants die out and then they try to start them again. Back elbows in the corner by Paige. I think Nash used to do these elbows. Where you just kind of back into them and repeatedly elbow to each side.
Kevin Nash from the pre-show?
From the pre-show. It's an homage
That's
to him.
why he was there. Yeah. He must have produced this match.
He might have.
The ring general he is.
Emma trips Paige, goes for the Emma sandwich, which is the running crossbody to a seated opponent in the corner.
Speaking of running crossbodies,
Paige fights it off.
Remember, and also in NXT, Killian Dane made that cool,
nice.
Which is dumb.
Wasn't it the Divide?
Yeah.
Which is a cool name.
That's such a good name.
Yeah.
It's dumb because it's just a running crossbody. Remember in that ladder match that I love, Oh my god, I cannot wait till we get to that ladder match, the North American one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the one that Adam Cole won.
Yep.
Oh my, I was so happy when he won because I didn't think he would actually win. It was one of those things where you think he's gonna win, but you don't think he's gonna win. Anyways, they made a big deal about Lars Sullivan catching him.
Oh yeah. Lars Sullivan.
Anyways, back to this.
This is the part where we get the repeated knees to Emma kind of leaning through the ropes to the apron, and then the shrieking from Paige.
Which I called it. I knew it.
Emma hits something I missed because I'm a professional on the apron and brings Paige back in the ring.
I do that too, to be fair, but when I take notes, we had the luxury of rewinding.
And
so to be fair
I was
to
too
you,
lazy to get up and touch the iPad.
Yeah, that's not
again,
entirely your
due
fault.
to the way WWE Network operates in our country,
They should
much frustration doing this.
It should be a thing that's on Apple TV.
Yes.
Or like, you know what I mean? You know how
they
it's like
should have. They
integrated?
did. They had an app.
They
before,
did, but it
didn't work here.
It was faulty. Yeah.
And now anyways, it's ridiculous.
Or like, you know how Disney Plus used to be only on the Apple TV, but now it's like in the cable thing.
Yeah.
This should because it's basically a WWE Netflix, right? So it should be one of the options there.
It should be easier than it is.
Because
That's all I can tell you as a Canadian
we do have
consumer.
like some on-demand options here, right?
We do
on the cable, but it's
put
not
up there.
Right. It's like we could actually.
And I've watched most of them because there were a lot of them are old.
Once we get to certain takeovers, they are on there. I think the post or during pandemic ones.
Yeah.
But that's it. Maybe Toronto too. Oh, that'll be fun to watch because we went there.
It will be.
I was there.
We get the dilemma in the ropes. Was that the tarantula-ish thing?
Oh, that's a funny name.
The dilemma, and that's part of her gimmick too, is as many Emmas as possible, right?
That I would have liked that better if it was the heel gimmick that she did, like the sunglasses better. But I like that's a good name.
Then she successful Emma sandwich to Paige for a 2 count.
I missed that.
Then Emma has wrist control for a while here with a couple of different submissions.
I thought it was funny. Byron Saxton called her a submission specialist.
And there's a bit of downtime here as this is happening again. Stomps and boot choke by Emma. Emma goes up top. Paige joins her. Some talk of a superplex happening, but it looks kind of like there's a sunset flip bomb, but Emma flips out of that, carries Paige to the center of the ring, and actually hits a really nice sit-out power bomb. And remember the crowd were chanting? I went and looked it up. They were chanting better than Batista. Because I told you I could hear Batista, but I didn't know what the rest was.
Nice.
Punch, clothesline, and a kick before the Paige turner, but Emma manages to kick out. Paige can't believe it. There are "This is awesome" chants. Not sure
I wish she hit a rampage. That was an awesome move.
I do like the rampage.
Like the cradle DDT. That move was sweet, okay?
Instead, to give Paige credit, we get a sick-looking
I do remember. This is the one thing I remember from
Regal
this match.
calls it a scorpion crosslock, but I think that was just the leg part. And then she does like a double underhook.
Yeah, so she has like I think the way it's first set up is, if anyone can remember the educator submission, which I hate that move looks dumb. It's like basically in a sharpshooter where you're facing your opponent. Yeah. But this is better because she like gets both arms behind her like kind of a butterfly grip and lifts her up, so she's like completely like off the mat and all of her limbs are like tied up. It's really cool. Like, I forget what she calls it, but
Emma has to tap out on her thigh, right? Because she doesn't even really have her arm free, which I think is always cool. And then so Paige obviously retains. They actually hug because they are kind of both baby faces here. Paige's music plays. Paige holds up the title.
Apparently the name for this is bad.
As Emma goes up the ramp. Like inappropriate bad?
No, but apparently it's just like I'm looking. What's it called? Oh, there's a video and it's on. God damn it. Okay, I'm gonna keep looking because it's like I'll listen to this article. I can't listen to it right now. This is bull. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out.
What did you think of this match, anyways?
What is it? God.
Who cares?
I care. Because Paige Turner's funny and Rampage is also funny.
Okay. What did you think of this match, man? We're already at an hour here.
I really liked her. Oh, nice. I really liked her submission, though. That was really cool. That
was very cool looking.
This is okay as well. There were a couple decent spots, but it was kind of iffy at the beginning and went a little wrestled heavy. It was like I said, kind of caught in the middle of the Divas transition into the women. So I think it was solid. How many for the
stars?
Time, but 2.25.
Okay. Wow, you were lower than I gave it 3.25. I thought it was fine. There was some. There was
2.5. I'll go 2.5.
There was some good stuff, some interesting stretches, but also some slow stretches with some rest holds and things. I thought the finishing submission super cool. Not sure I've seen anyone else do it. Bit of an awkward babyface dynamic, right? Kind of the opposite of the great dynamic we had in the opener with your heel and babyface. But the crowd still tried to stay engaged. I feel like some of this match was filler. It felt like they're like, listen, we want you to go 15 minutes, and they had to like put some filler in to
Yeah.
get there, like 13, almost 15. I don't think it was a bad match, but I didn't think it was anything to get excited about. I gave it 3 and a quarter.
Wikipedia says 12.54. Or 12 seconds, 54 seconds, sorry.
So I gave it 3 and a quarter stars, and on Cage Match, they're pretty close. They're a little lower than me. That 6.42 was the average there. So, like, fine, nothing crazy. Like, it wasn't bad, but nothing amazing either. Then we get a Neville, which was hard for me to type Neville.
Adrian Neville.
Because Pac is so easy to type, and that's who he is to me. But so we get a package on Adrian Neville. He flies around a lot.
I wish King of the Cruisers was in NXT, because then we could watch that.
Then we get another cut to the crowd where we see good old Pat Patterson and Dusty Rhodes, rest in peace, shown sitting there.
They're both dead, right? I know Dusty is.
Dusty is for sure. Patterson?
I
feel like that happened not that long ago.
Is. I don't think it's crazy long. Just 2020, yeah. Okay.
And our next match is going to be Xavier Woods, which it's really weird to see him non-New Day and as a Funkadactyl.
Afro goatee. Yeah, he's got Brodus Clay's theme.
Exactly.
I do remember that because I remember he was in 2K15 with this gimmick. Yeah. So it's really weird. And he had it for the main roster in a bit. He teamed with R-Truth. I think Big E's the only member of the New Day not to team with R-Truth at one point. But yeah, it's really weird. I don't know why. They just thought they could reuse that theme, I guess. I know it's not the first time they've done something like that, but it's just really weird.
So he's taking on Tyler Breeze. I actually remember watching Xavier Woods in Impact. He was Consequences Creed. And he was like almost like the Rocky Creed guy gimmick with the whole American tights and stuff like that.
I thought it was also weird. Breeze didn't have his gorgeous theme that I would associate with him.
So yeah, Breeze was such a fun part of NXT, and you kind of knew the act would never be a big deal on main roster, but you just kind of, it's one of those you embrace it as your own, right? And you just kind of have fun with a really silly character that he's doing a really good job of presenting, right?
Yeah,
so you just
it definitely had potential.
Have fun with it. So Phillips at the beginning of this goes over many of Tyler Breeze's nicknames. I didn't get all of them. But like Prince Pretty and
Sultan the Selfies, which I really liked.
And he goes out of his way to say that Breeze told him that his boots it's alpaca fur on his boots and something else too. I forget what it was. We get Breeze's gorgeous chance right away. And then this match never happens because Alexander Rusev, which you laughed because I think maybe you forgot he had a first name at one point.
I remember. It's weird because it's so... I don't often like name changes, but I think shortening that is
I don't mind that either.
I think that is a totally appropriate one. I also thought it was weirder because I associate Alexander Rusev with when he was like kind of like the savage look where he had like the burlap looking thing and like the brown, you know what I mean?
Yes, this is after that he started to wear gear now. This is like main roster Rusev, as I would call it, right? Yeah, with Lana.
Yeah. So it's weird. He's still Alexander Rusev, but he's got like that polished look that you would associate with him.
So, which I thought was a big improvement because it was almost like he was wearing like Taz gear with the like old.
He was the Tasmaniac. He was the Tasmaniac. Yeah.
Or
it's like Proto Umaga or something.
The match is about to start. Rusev comes out. He basically kills both of them, right? And it ends up with Woods taking an accolade as Lana then takes the mic and puts Rusev over as a super athlete.
I remember this.
The crowd chants USA as they're trained to do.
I remember this, but this gimmick. But it's also so weird because like Lana dropped the Russian accent towards the end of her run, I think. And I forgot she's not Russian. I forgot that she did this. And
I have a Rusev Day t-shirt upstairs, right?
Oh, yeah. I forgot you have that.
I thought this made him look good. It's just unfortunately at the expense of Breeze and especially Woods taking the accolade there. But
I would say especially Breeze because he definitely had more potential at this point.
I forgot that Lana was with Rusev in Impact at all. I thought she was in
Impact?
Or sorry, in NXT.
Oh,
I thought she was a main roster addition.
She was even with him, like she started being with him when he was in the Tasmaniac era or whatever.
Right.
She was actually been with him for
a while. They were a great combination, man. They were a really good act. Mm-hmm. And he got himself over and he got punished for that.
I think it's in 2K15. Right? They actually have like an entrance with her doing an intro or something.
Yeah, she was good.
15 or 16. It's weird that I remember it because I think when I started watching, he was still in the League of Nations.
Right. So then we get that non-match is over and we move on. So it's a hype package for the first ever NXT ladder match that will be our main event. And basically Neville talks about never being in a ladder match before. He's always been focused on technique. Bo Dallas has never been in one either, but he's sure he'll win. Neville's been Pac again, I wrote. Even put main event, Pac versus Bo Dallas. he's been studying, and this is the biggest match of his life.
Taylor Rotunda.
So this is our main event. It is Neville taking on Bo Dallas. Again, there is quite a bit of history between these two. Did you want to summarize that for us?
Okay. Neville beat Sami Zayn to win a title shot on the November 27, 2013 episode. He faced Dallas for the title the next week, but only won by countout. He got a Lumberjack rematch 2 weeks later, but he lost when one of the Lumberjacks, that being Tyler Breeze, interfered.
Right. I had that as well.
Neville got his title shot when Dallas failed to win in a Beat the Clock challenge, and Triple H made a ladder match on February 5th.
That is correct. So again, this has been effectively kind of like Neville chasing the title since late November to mid-February, right? So that's...
yeah, I like that there's more of a story to this than I was aware of.
Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't know that there was that much.
So before the match takes place, we get Shawn Michaels coming out. He's carrying the NXT Championship. And it's funny because I say, thanks for getting dressed up, Shawn, because he's in cowboy boots, like old jeans, an ill-fitting shirt, and like a scruffy old baseball cap, right? And he then...
Classic Shawn gear.
Excuse me. In his promo, he admits it, basically, right? Like, he violates dress code or whatever. So I really dislike this. He rambled on.
I didn't even say anything about it.
He sounded like a guy who was just like, I'll just go out there and wing it, it'll be fine. And then he admits the crowd is throwing him off and that he's got certain things he's supposed to say.
Isn't he supposed to be good at this?
And then it's like he's running out of time and he refocuses, but he barely talks about anything related to the match. He talks about himself, promotes his DVD, right? And then briefly talks about the competitors in the match. So this, to me, I thought he was awful. Spent more time talking about himself. It felt like, and then there was a whole one more match, right? That's what threw him off. The crowd was chanting one more match when he came out, and then he felt like he had to address that. In hindsight, pretty funny. But it's like he knows he's untouchable, so if he meanders from the script and whatever, nothing's going to happen.
Especially now, yeah.
There's no real pressure for him to like stay on task here. So we get a clean-shaven, really young Neville, right?
He's got a bit of a soul patch. Come on.
Oh, did he? And I like Bo Dallas's theme. I thought it suits what he's trying to do here.
I miss like the main roster Bo Dallas theme. Like it's kind of like, it's like I don't know how.
This one sounded a bit retro.
Like, you would remember it.
If I heard it, I'm sure.
It's like okay, I'll find it. I'll find it after. But it's I remember it.
So Pac is in control. Oh, Neville, sorry, is in control early.
Adrian.
We get a missile drop kick, and he goes right up top. But Bo Dallas, being the clever heel he is, rolls out to the floor to stop that momentum. So then opportunistic Bo Dallas takes control as he re-enters the ring, stomps and punches Neville. We get a ripcord back elbows by Bo Dallas that I thought were simple but looked pretty good, and he maintains wrist control. Ripcord clothesline that turns Neville inside out as Bo Dallas is kind of keeping the pace slow, which makes sense too, right? Neville wants to go as fast as he can and fly around, so you got to try and ground him and slow the pace down. Neville gets hung up in the ropes by his left knee, right? You like that little spot?
That was cool, yeah.
Dallas goes to get a ladder, and what does that say? Oh, Neville hits a basement drop kick, sends the ladder into Bo Dallas's midsection, and then Neville leaps over the top onto Bo Dallas on the floor. Neville gets sent back first into the ring steps, and Bo follows up with a series of strikes. Dallas gets another ladder and tries to ram Neville, but misses, and that ladder I think goes sliding into the ring. Neville backdrops, he ducks something, backdrops Dallas onto the ramp, heads to the ring to set up a ladder for the first time in the match. Neville climbs almost to the top, and Dallas kind of out of nowhere throws a ladder at him.
The camera work
looked really good. Just this ladder out of nowhere kind of flattens Neville.
Yeah, that was nice camera work.
We get a ladder driven into Neville's midsection. I think he was in the corner. And then Dallas pins Neville under a ladder. Oh, no, he's lying on the mat for that one. Because then he pins him under the ladder and starts to climb it. Pac tips the ladder.
I think that's a cool spot.
I think he used his legs, right, to tip the ladder over.
To give an assist there.
Bo falls onto the ropes. Neville sets up a ladder of his own and climbs again. But Bo Dallas knocks that one over as well. Then there's a bit of a tug of war with the ladder. Neville gets driven into the corner. Neville flips onto his feet after being pulled off the ropes and then quickly hits a tornado DDT, apparently, I think, using the ladder that was wedged in the corner to sort of push off of for the tornado. Then they end up cracking heads and fall over, and the ladder falls right on top of Neville, right? Which I don't think they planned, but
I thought that looked cool.
Worked out well, for sure. Both are down. We then get repeated corner clotheslines by Bo Dallas. Neville avoids a Bodog onto a ladder, shoves Dallas into a corner where there's a ladder for him to run into. Both get to the top of the ladder. Both kind of come down together now. We get a head kick by Neville. He goes back up top, but is pushed off, and he lands really hard on the apron and then kind of bounces down to the floor. Bo smiles at him, heads to the ladder, slowly climbs up, and this was really cool. So Bo's really, really struggling. He's still not really getting up the ladder at all. There's a big span of ladder above his head that Neville just leaps out of nowhere to sort of cut in line and on front of Dallas on this ladder. Really cool. Nailed it, right? Like landed perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's a bit of a battle on the ladder, leads to a Dallas power bomb, sending Neville into a ladder in the corner. Bo Dallas is slammed onto a closed ladder, and he kind of stays there. Neville goes up top. Probably the most memorable spot of the match was a red arrow, right? To Dallas lying on the ladder. The crowd's
gotta love a good old red arrow.
It looked great. The crowd chants NXT. Bo Dallas rolls to the floor. Neville gets a ladder and climbs. Dallas kind of races out, makes it to the bottom of the ladder, but it's too late. Adrian Neville grabs the NXT title, becomes NXT champion in what ended up being a 16-minute ladder match. What did you think?
Let me find it. I thought it was pretty solid. For two guys who probably haven't done a ladder match before, I thought they did a pretty good job.
For sure.
It was a little slow in the early going for me, but we had some solid spots here and there. It's definitely a little bit of an unpolished ladder match just because, obviously, like, they're not super experienced in it, but I thought it was pretty good. The red arrow on the ladder was always a highlight for me. Not much else stood out a ton. Again, another main roster contrast. It was interesting to see Bo Dallas as more than jobber comedy fodder.
Yep, for sure.
Neville's also weird in contrast to the King of Cruiserweights or modern day Pac. Solid ladder match, but not the most exciting one you'll see. But however, I think it was good. I give it like 3.25.
Nice. I thought this was a good ladder match. Never seemed to really push the envelope
exactly.
too far,
That's what I was kind of thinking.
There weren't the typical brutal spots associated with ladder matches.
Right. I mean, understandably,
neither one had been in one before, so that's fine. I think they did a good job. Again, I like Dallas trying to like slow the pace because that's in his best interest. And then I agree. Other than the red arrow on the ladder, there wasn't anything super memorable. But I thought it was an enjoyable match and really nice to see Neville because I'm sure at the time I was like, that guy's never getting it because he's too small. And NXT didn't really care about that, but I didn't know that at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like we came to know that they're not worried about size, which is one of my favorite things about NXT, which is why you get so many talented wrestlers because you're not like, you don't have to be 6'4" and 250.
They're not going to make you be a manager.
It doesn't matter. So yeah, I thought it was a good match. Still pales in comparison to the opener, I would say, which was fantastic. So, and overall, I thought this was a 2-match show for me, especially the opener was by far match of the night. Truly, I think a match worth tracking down and seeing if you haven't, or if you kind of forget, it's been a while since you've seen it. It's fantastic. The main event was very good, but not exceptional. And then in between, I thought we got a solid, at best, women's match, a basic tag match, a bad Mojo Rawley win, and a non-match with an angle to build Rusev, right? So, still easy to watch. It came in at under 2 hours. I wouldn't say it was great. I'm interested to see where NXT goes from here because, again, I kind of forget everything. I was watching all of this at the time.
I haven't seen any of this. So.
I gave this show a C+. But I imagine at the time with the excitement of like the network and the hype surrounding kind of NXT increased in visibility, I probably liked it more then. And the opener's enough to pass this show on its own, right? So I wish I could remember more, but I'm pretty sure I liked it back then, and I still thought it was a fine show. Nothing spectacular, but solid.
For NXT's first PLE or pay-per-view, I think it's a solid start. It's more of a preview of what's to come, I think, but it's not amazing yet. I think it had some makings of a takeover show, some qualities there, but not quite at that level yet. So thankfully, it's not a takeover in name.
No, it's not at that level.
Things like Raleigh versus Parker, the Breeze Woods thing wouldn't cut it on one of the later takeovers. Even the earlier takeovers that are only in Full Sail, that they probably wouldn't cut it either. I would imagine they get better. The opener was fantastic. That would be a solid addition to any takeover card. Riley Parker was mediocre TV fodder at best. Tag title match was basic nostalgia, but also TV fare at best, other than Too Cool, obviously. Women's title match was pretty okay, but still reminiscent of the Divas era, which isn't a compliment. Woods and Breeze never got going as it was just a bit for Rusev, which was at least solid, but not a match. Then I thought the main event was pretty good, not perfect, but a good developmental brand match all around. Like, did good for both of them. It's not a perfect start to NXT, but I think it's all for what it is. I was going to go like a low B-, but I feel like C+ is more apropos.
Not quite a B, yeah.
So I will go that, but it's good for what it is.
Yep.
But it's not an amazing show, but I didn't expect it either. We're not quite at TakeOver yet.
We are not. Awesome. So I enjoyed watching this. It was nice to go back because I don't remember a lot of it. So The last thing I wanted to
I
do.
don't know why, but I knew CJ Parker was on the show.
Was I did quickly look and see what we're going to get on the next episode of NXT. So to preview, I won't give you any spoilers because I didn't want them either. But we're going to get. I forgot this. Do you know who this is? Adrian Neville. I know you know who that is.
Who's that?
We'll take on Camacho. You know who Camacho and
Tongaloa.
Yes, correct. We're going to get Charlotte versus Emma.
Okay, so Charlotte wrestles. Nice.
And if this is right where I got it from, Corey Graves is going to have 2 matches. Corey Graves is going to take on Yoshitatsu.
Yeah, he's not dead yet.
Adam Rose, Wesley Blake.
Okay, sure.
And Sami Zayn and Corey Graves. So Graves pulling double duty.
Why?
Have you ever seen Graves wrestle?
No.
Interesting.
I know he does, obviously. But...
I felt like his look, he was going for like a modern CM Punk kind of deal. But anyway, he had a cool look. And he was decent.
To be modern.
He was
CM
in a tag
Punk.
team with Neville, right?
I know
they
that,
were tag champs, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I don't know. I had a good time watching this. I look forward to doing another one, and we'll see if we continue this little setup we've got going here for the first time ever. Did you want to say anything about it?
Perhaps.
In case we didn't do it, in case it doesn't show up.
I don't know.
But this may show up for the first time in video format, right? So we'll see. I'm videotaping it. We'll see if we like how it looks and sounds. We may start posting stuff like that. But anyways, anything else you wanted to add before we go?
I want to see Adam Cole.
Well, we'll get to that point. So this was likely, if you listen to this, was probably a fill-in for episode 162, which I think we'll return back. I don't think I'll call that this, so we'll return to our regularly scheduled program.
We'll get 162 on
unless I do something extra and add
unless you do a supplement.
Right, which I'm not sure I will. But whatever it is, you're still getting content put out on a Saturday by us as you have for the last 3 years. So we hope you enjoyed this. We'd love to hear any feedback if you think that this was a good idea to do. If there's anything you're looking forward to in the run of NXT we're entering here, tell us what were some of your favorite memories of NXT, what you didn't like, so we know what to expect.
If you want to watch the episode in anticipation.
Right. Yep.
Although that might be dumb considering I don't know when the next one is, but hopefully soon.
Yep. We'll whenever we have some free time, we'll get around to this. It's just kind of bonus content. Again, we never ask for any money. We don't have ads. We don't have anything. So when we get around to doing this, the flagship show you can count on, and these will kind of be sporadic whenever we get time to do it.
It's probably our first
it'll be fun though.
Sub-series.
Yep. So thanks for joining us. We hope you liked episode 1 of this foray into the good gold era of NXT. We look forward to seeing you back for the next installment of this whenever it comes out. And until then, everybody, take care.